someone asked you what you make, maybe it was a coworker you actually like, maybe it felt like a moment of honesty, of real talk, of finally dropping the weird silence everyone pretends is normal. And you told them within 24 hours, something shifted. You could feel it, not a fight, not a scene, just a small permanent change in how they looked at you. That's what this is about. First, the thing people always say, salary transparency is good. Knowing what your colleagues earn helps you negotiate. It exposes pay gaps, it gives workers leverage, and there's real truth to that in theory, in aggregate, in policy, but that's not the situation you're in. You're not a policy. You're a person in a specific office with specific people having a specific conversation. And at that level, the math changes. Here's what actually happens when you share your salary. If you earn more than the person you told, they now have to sit next to you every day knowing that. They don't necessarily think you're overpaid. They might think they're underpaid. Both could be true, but the feeling it creates isn't intellectual. It's personal, it's quiet, and it doesn't go away. They start running comparisons they can't stop running. Who works harder? Who gets more credit? Who stays later? And you become the reference point for all of it, not because they're a bad person, because that's what humans do with numbers. If you earn less than them, there's a different problem. Some people will feel uncomfortable about it. They'll pull back slightly without knowing why. Some will treat it like information they're now responsible for. A few will feel awkward talking about money with you at all, which means conversations about raises, budgets, and career moves suddenly have a weird charge they didn't have before. And some, not all, but some, will use it, not maliciously, just practically, the way anyone uses information they have that you'd rather they didn't. Here's the part nobody warns you about. Salary becomes a story about you that you didn't write. In a good month, people remember your number when you're being praised. In a bad month, they remember it when you make a mistake. Someone misses a deadline. Someone says under their breath, and they're making how much? Nobody says it to your face. You won't even know it happened, but it happened, and the person you told didn't keep it to themselves. That's not an accusation. It's just true. People share things not out of malice, usually out of processing, out of the same impulse that made you share it in the first place. So now 2 people know, then 4, then it's just known without being official, without being confirmed, floating through the team like a rumor that happens to be accurate. Here's what that costs you. It costs you neutrality. Before anyone knew what you made, you were just a colleague. After, you're a data point. People form an opinion about whether you deserve it, whether the company distributes compensation fairly, whether you got lucky or negotiated better or know someone. That opinion lives in them. You didn't get a vote on what it was. You just handed them the information and walked away. It also creates problems you can't see in advance. Hiring situations, reorganizations, budget conversations, any moment where your compensation is adjacent to a decision, someone in the room already knows your floor. They know what you've accepted. They know what you're worth to yourself. And information like that shapes decisions in ways that are almost never in your favor. Here's the part that feels unfair. Companies can see everyone's number. HR knows. Finance knows. Your manager's manager knows. You are the only person in that building operating without full information, and sharing yours doesn't fix that asymmetry. It just means more people have information about you, none of whom are required to use it in your interest. The instinct to share comes from a real place. It's a form of trust. It's a signal that you're not playing games, that you're being straight with someone, that you're not caught up in the weird competitive silence that poisons most offices. And that instinct is not wrong. The problem is that it's a unilateral move in a context that is not actually safe for unilateral moves. You can feel like you're building trust while actually handing someone leverage, and you won't know which one happened until later. So what does this mean practically? If someone asks you directly, you can answer without answering. You can say you'd rather keep it private, or that you're still figuring out where you sit in the market. You can redirect to what they actually want, which is usually validation that they're being paid fairly or confirmation that they're not the only one underpaid. You can be generous with that conversation without disclosing your number. Most of the time, that's what they actually need. If you're genuinely trying to help a colleague negotiate, you can do it without a specific number. You can talk about ranges. You can point them towards salary data that's publicly available. You can advocate for them without making yourself the benchmark. And if you're the one who already told someone this isn't a crisis, it's just information now, you can't untell it, what you can do is stop adding to it. Stop volunteering the updates. Stop treating your compensation as part of your identity at work. Let time dilute the signal. Here's the truth underneath all of this. Your salary is not a secret because it's shameful. It's not a secret because you're hiding something. It's private because it's yours, because it's the output of a negotiation that nobody else was in. Because once it leaves the room, you lose all control over what it means and how it's used. And in most offices, that loss is permanent. The solidarity argument is real, but solidarity doesn't require your number. It requires your support, your information, your willingness to advocate, those things you can give freely. The number itself just becomes noise that people assign meaning to, meaning you didn't intend, meaning that follows you. You can be honest without being undefended. You can be generous without funding someone else's resentment or someone else's leverage. Keep the number to yourself, not because you're above it, because you're in it.